You ever spend a year building something with your own two hands, pouring your sweat, your sanity, all your weekends into it just to have someone waltz in and try to steal it out from under you? Yeah, that happened. Let me tell you about the time my driveway became a war zone and how my next door neighbor, Karen, learned probably for the first time in her life that there are some battles you just can't win, no matter how many lemon bars you bake or fake documents you print. See, out here in Montgomery County, I live on 9 acres of land. It's not much, but it's mine. A quiet brick house set back from the road trees on all sides, nothing but the wind and the deer most days. 12 years ago, before anybody even thought about subdividing the land next door, I laid down my own driveway. 150 yards of winding asphalt, up a gentle hill, past the wild scrub, and right up to my front door. Did it all myself with a rented roller, a few friends and hands so blistered I thought I'd never grip a fishing rod again. But man, that road was my pride. Not just some strip of pavement, my line in the sand, if you know what I mean. Then Karen showed up. If you've ever dealt with a Karen, you know exactly what I mean. When I say her smile could cut glass, sharp, calculated, never quite reaching her eyes. Her and her husband Miles transplants from D.C., big plans for country living. The first day she brings over lemon bars talking about fresh air and garden beds. I thought, sure, maybe this'll be all right. Next week she's knocking all sweet, asking if she can park her trailer on the grassy edge of my drive just for a few days. Right away I felt that little red flag go up. I told her polite but firm, "That's my land, Karen. Gotta keep it clear." She fake smiled so hard I swear I heard her jaw pop. Under her breath, loud enough for me to hear, she muttered, "Some people would just say yes." Should have known right then. Over the next month, I started seeing little things. Her SUV parked closer and closer to my driveway. Miles out there with a string line measuring distances from their porch to my pavement like they were mapping out the Normandy invasion. I didn't call him out, just kept reviewing my old drone footage, dusted off the survey I'd kept filed away like a religious artifact, right down to the GPS coordinates. Call it paranoia, but I used to work as a state land survey investigator. Old habits, they die hard. But then one Friday, I come home to an envelope stuffed in my mailbox, no stamp, just wedged in there like a threat. Inside an invoice. July use of shared access road, $180. Property of Karen Reed, please remit payment in 10 days. There's a verbal access agreement attached with my name typed in and a signature that looked like it was written by a nervous squirrel. I stood by the mailbox and laughed genuine can't make this up laughter. Then I went full documentation mode. Deed land plat, tax records, time-stamped photos of me laying the driveway a good 4 years before Karen ever set foot in this county. Next morning I show up at Karen's door, papers in hand. She opens up in yoga pants and that smile again, only this time it doesn't even try to reach her eyes. "I got your invoice," I say, waving it. "And this fake agreement." She barely blinks, tells me it's just a formality, everybody forgets where the lines are. I cut her off. "No, I paved it. I paid for it, and if I get one more of these, you'll hear from my attorney." The mask slipped. "Are you threatening me?" she snapped. "No, I'm drawing a boundary, literally." She slammed the door. I almost felt bad, but not quite. That was just the first shot. A few days later, I find a 2-inch roofing nail in my buddy's tire, then 5 more lined up like caltrops along the edge of my driveway. Pulled up the security footage, and there she was, Karen, sneaking out at midnight, flicking nails into the asphalt. I swear if pettiness were an Olympic sport, she'd have taken home gold. I took the footage straight to the local police officer. Looked like he was barely out of high school, but I showed him my drone maps, the surveys, even GIS overlays. Kid's eyes went wide. "That's pretty precise." "I'm not a hobbyist," I said. He filed a report, promised to talk to her. But you and I both know, without a smoking gun, nothing sticks. So the next day I wake up to a new sign hammered halfway up my driveway, "Private property, no through access, red top stakes, 4 of them dead center on my land." I took photos, pulled them up, put them in my truck like evidence. That afternoon, the police show up again because Karen claimed I stole her property markers. I invited the officer in, laid out every document, played the footage of Karen with a mallet hammering in those stakes. "You've got more documentation than most land disputes I've ever seen," he muttered. "I used to work for the state." I shrugged. He filed a counter report. By now, I'd installed more cameras. Motion lights felt like I was prepping for a siege, not living in the suburbs. Sure enough, next morning, "Access rights exist" is spray painted across my driveway in orange. Karen had gone full criminal mischief. That was it. I filed formal complaints, then dusted off my old field gear. 2 days mapping and flagging every inch, planted marker flags every 5 feet. Printed a 12-foot banner. "This road is my property. Trespassers will be recorded and prosecuted." Hung up a county-certified parcel map with the boundaries highlighted in red. "Ugly maybe. Effective absolutely." It got quiet for a few days. I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd let it go. But Karen doesn't retreat. She regroups. A week later, a county inspector knocks on my door. "Sir, got a complaint about unpermitted structures. Claims of a retaining wall drainage, issues the works." I laughed. Showed him photos, receipts, let him walk the site, found nothing. Next day, assessor's office, unreported improvements hinting at tax fraud. I showed him 10 years of filings. They left empty-handed, but it ate up my week, which was the point. Death by paperwork, an old Karen trick. But I'm not most people. Next, I find her new sign zip-tied at the bottom of my drive road. "Beyond this point is subject to shared easement. Karen and Miles Reed co-owners." I shot a video, sent it to my lawyer, Ethan Guy's a bulldog. He sends a cease and desist with every deed survey, drone overlay, even a photo of Karen spray painting. The response, Miles stomping up my drive, yelling about drone armies and lawyer tricks, lunges at me, trips, falls into my flour barrels, and gets hauled off in cuffs for assault. You'd think that'd be the climax, right? Man arrested, cops involved, everybody chills out. Not with Karen. She sues me civil complaint claiming my driveway encroaches on her land, accuses me of harassment, draws a blue pin squiggle she calls a shared zone. My lawyer and I bury her in evidence surveys, deeds, even a sworn affidavit from the previous owner that her land never touched my road. Judge looks at her like she's lost her mind, tosses the case out in 2 minutes flat. "If you keep this up, Mrs. Reed, you'll face sanctions." Karen hisses at me on the way out. "You haven't seen the last of this." I just smiled. "No, but I think the court has." You know what? She still wasn't done. Days later, she's caught on my new night vision cams, dropping more roofing nails in the driveway. I hand the video straight to Officer Daniels, and this time they file charges. She's arrested, faces criminal mischief, endangerment, the works. I counter-sue for property interference, harassment, defamation, print. Every Facebook post she ever made about me, even the ones she deleted. By now, Miles has faded into the wallpaper, out on bail, their yard overgrown, signs gone, empire crumbling. But then Karen escalates, brings in a crew of contractors to lay gravel on what she claims is a joint-use strip. I chased them off with the parcel map, called the county my lawyer the police. Karen had forged a document for the contractors. Now we're talking forgery, trespassing, attempted land seizure. The DA steps in. Within a month, Karen's facing 3 criminal charges. Miles, on his second restraining order violation, is back in jail. I'm living in a high-tech fortress, drones, motion cams, perimeter lights, the works. Karen files one last ridiculous lawsuit, claims my drones give her anxiety, sues for mental privacy. Ethan submits the drone's GPS logs, FAA compliance. Judge laughs it out of court. But it all ends the way it began, with Karen caught red-handed on drone footage, hammer in hand, pounding nails into my driveway. The DA throws the book at her sabotage, criminal mischief, violation of court orders. She's sentenced to 14 months in county jail, 5 years probation, permanent no-contact order. Miles gets 90 days in anger management. The house next door goes up for sale. Listing says quiet neighborhood, low drama. I laugh every time I see it. Now, every morning I sit on my porch with coffee, look out over my driveway, and the stone pillars marking every inch of my land. No more signs, no more sabotage, just peace. Crossing the line isn't always metaphorical, but out here, you cross mine, you're going to meet the full weight of proof, patience, and persistence. So let me ask you, where do you draw the line between standing your ground and going too far? Ever dealt with a neighbor like that? Drop your stories and let's debate what real justice looks like. I'll be here sipping my coffee, watching the sunrise over my hard-won, drama-free driveway.